you have such a little time to be able to not only hook somebody, but be able to carry their attention throughout that. Because even if you do hook them, people's attention spans are so short that you could then lose them very quickly.
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, growing 1% everyday podcast.
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs podcast, where we discuss how to grow 1% every single day in both business and in self. Today, super excited for our guest who's here to talk about video marketing, get a deep dive of what's happening in the market today and how to leverage these videos to actually grow their business. Ben from Blueride Visuals is helping businesses craft an incredible story through video, and he's driving new customers and increase of revenue for his clients in video creation. Thank you, Ben, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. Excited to talk to individuals like you that are on the cutting edge of what is really needed in today's market. As we see with Reels, the additive of TikTok, and the attention span of human beings. Single graphics might still get conversions here and there, but telling the story and actually attracting new customers is really coming from video. So tell me how you got here. How did you start this company? Where's your background in video and kind of where you live today?
Yeah, like many people, I started my video journey by just kind of piquing my interest of thinking, video is a really cool thing. It's the next level of photography. I actually started as a photographer, and then I just liked the added audio element, and I just saw how much more prevalent videos were. So as a lot of people do, I started by making wedding videos, which was fun for a time, but it got old after a little bit. And I actually had a business reach out to me that had seen one of my wedding videos and asked me if I could make a video for their business. So I started doing that for them. I saw what it was able to do for them, and it was bringing clients in. The first video I'd ever done for a business, and they called me back to do more work. And I was like, oh, a repeat client. That's new. Thankfully, I didn't have that in the wedding world, but I, from that, was able to create more stuff for them that still worked. And then I had somebody see that video, and it just kind of snowballed from there until eventually I decided, I want to go all in with this business thing. And then from there, I learned not just how to make pretty looking videos, which is kind of all you really need for weddings, but how to make videos that tell a story and that will actually convert. Because when you're spending money in marketing, especially video marketing, like the purpose of it is to generate revenue, to increase client retention. And we want to make sure that our videos are made with a purpose and not just made to look cool.
Ben, hitting the nail on the head, and something that we've actually emphasized for the last few years, using companies like Harmon Brothers as an example, and other creative companies that have really taken storytelling and selling in the marketing world, combining that marketing and sales all in one. And it sounds like that's what you're really doing here. Let me go a little bit deeper down that journey that you just mentioned of understanding the sales process. And because I don't think a lot of people understand how to create videos that actually do sell. Can you walk me through that journey a little bit of what you started studying, what you learned, and did you have any aha moments through that process that changed the way that you make video?
Yeah, I actually did. I'd always kind of been someone who, anytime I saw an ad or I saw a video that was promoting something, I would dissect it. This was even before I had gotten into video. And I just thought, like, what was it that made me watch this video for as long as I did? Or what was it that was annoying about it and the reason I clicked off, etc. And from that, I was able to derive, there are some key components when it comes to creating effective video. So one is, overall, there has to be a goal. Again, whether that be generating more revenue, increasing client retention, whatever that may be. I need to know what that goal is before we even go in. And then from that, we need to figure out what is our target audience, because that's a huge difference. People respond differently to different things. Different platforms are going to be more effective or less effective depending on the target market. So this is all stuff we need to know beforehand going into it. But with pretty much every single video, it has to start with some sort of hook. So just getting into that and diving into, like, what are some universal hooks that work, and being able to start the video with something like that, and then move on from there and be able to create a story that from the get-go, you kind of know where it's going, but you're able to expound upon it and make it interesting throughout. And the other biggest thing that I would say, probably like the biggest issue that I see currently, is way too many videos want to include so much information and they're not concise. You can be very concise and informative and interesting. You don't have to give people 10 minutes about what it is you do to pique their interest. So being able to create something that not only tells a story, but gets the information across and is concise and entertaining throughout, that's the biggest goal.
I mean, such a huge, monumental reverse funnel process that you went through, right? Because if you think about it, most people create the video in the hopes to get the sales, where you started off as, what is the actual goal? Then who are we speaking to? And all the entrepreneurs and business owners that are listening to this is the way to find a real answer of how to find success. Russell Brunson brings it up multiple times in all of his books, his reverse funnel ideology of coming in and understanding this is where the goal is. How do we go back step by step to make sure that we're achieving that goal in every asset that we're doing here? And Ben hit on every point, everything from the hook to the storytelling to being goal oriented to hitting the ideal customer profile. And one thing is huge. If you guys don't know this, the ideal video length right now for these social platforms are right around 15 seconds for ads, right? So Ben is able to not only tell the story, but then condense it down into a way that it's action packed and focused on moving the customer towards that ultimate goal. So that's awesome, Ben. And you elaborate a little bit on problems that you're seeing in the industry. And I agree with you. A lot of people, when they're going after videos, it seems today that everyone's a video editor, right? Now that everyone can, use TikTok and Instagram and they're editing videos, but not everybody's a storyteller, right? What is the biggest problem that you see overall in the competitive space that you have? And what really do you do in the company that differentiates you in that category?
Yeah, kind of already spoke to it, but I would say the biggest thing is not going in with a goal in mind. I work with a clientele now that doesn't typically do this, but especially when I was starting out, I had a lot of people come to me and they'd be like, "Hey, so how much is it for a 30-second video?" And I'm like, 30-second video of what? Like, who are we trying to reach with this? What is the purpose of this video? And a lot of times they didn't even know. They were literally just like, "Oh, my business coach told me I needed to have video," or, "Oh, I know that video's growing in popularity and people say that if you're not getting with it, then you're falling behind." And it's like, okay, well, let's take a step back and figure out what it is that we're actually trying to achieve with this. And that's not typical for video companies. Usually they don't do that consulting side. They just be like, "Oh yeah, a 30-second video is this much," and then they'll make them a pretty video with no purpose. And then the company will lose money. I want our clients to succeed, so I always start with that goal. The other thing would be, again, I kind of spoke on this as well, but it would be the too much emphasis on the visuals. Obviously, you want it to look pretty and professional. That is very important. But sometimes people get too excited as a videographer, being able to create something that's cool looking, that they focus so much of their attention on that and not enough on focusing on what the product is. I can't tell you how many times I've seen an ad to where it's like, until the end, I don't even know what they're trying to sell or what the purpose is. Or not even just that, it gets to that point and I'm like, I don't even know what that was for. I literally don't know what this company is or what they do. And again, you have such a little time to be able to not only hook somebody, but be able to carry their attention throughout that. Because even if you do hook them, people's attention spans are so short that you could then lose them very quickly. So not only do you have to tell a compelling story throughout, but it needs to be obvious what it is where you're going throughout the whole thing, and what it is that you're, I would say, trying to sell, but that you also don't necessarily want them to feel sold to. What is it that you're trying to pique their interest about?
Ben, thank you for elaborating on those, because that's what I really want to get granular on, was the understanding of what the goal is for the videos. And it seems like the company that you've built and the structure that you've put into place is doing what companies in any creative market space should be, which is, I am a creator in marketing, aka if I'm doing marketing, I am helping business grow. There's a huge differentiation. We've talked to many different videographers, and a lot of them just break it down on the concept of time or commitment of people there. And they go after general shots and a general presentation. We see a lot of the times like restaurants today. I know restaurants is one of the categories of businesses that you work with, and we'll dive into that in a second. But a lot of restaurants today, you see a lot of assets that are focused on either trending hooks or viral hooks in the beginning, but they don't have a goal focus of driving the customer into location, highlighting a new menu item, talking about the ambience, hitting on a consumer profile that's ideal for them, and really getting some resonation with that customer to get them to the front door. So incredible. And then again, this is something that is a huge topic, and I think not many people are talking about this right now, is that with all of this creation of video, it's becoming a flooded market. And a lot of times there is too much of the editing going on and not enough of the marketing and sales. Everyone wants to be on top of the new trending thing, but if they're doing it in the hopes to grow their company. If it doesn't grow their company, then they hit this level of confusion. But as you said, if you have the goal in mind and focus on the goal front facing, and then make sure that's also clear in your messaging and your creative, that's what's going to lead to the sales. So I love that. to build something like this, to have this type of knowledge, to create these assets that I've seen on your website, you have to go through some trials and tribulations. You're a creator, right? So as an artist, you guys always get beat up. I always feel for you because what's in your mind is not always in the client's mind, and it's hard to find where that middle ground is, right? So my question to you is, through the process of growing your company, through the development of becoming a videographer, what is the biggest challenge that you faced, and how did that really position you in your business to what you offer today?
I would say the biggest challenge I faced was probably working with the wrong clientele for me. As you said, a lot of times people have a picture in their mind of what they want. The whole phrase, the customer is always right, is a lie. A lot of times they could be wrong. They could picture, again, like I said, sometimes people just have such in their head that they have to just stuff a bunch of information down somebody's throat. If this is like your first touch point with that person, they don't need all that information that is overwhelming and is going to push them away. So being able to get to the point where I'm now working with clients who they trust me, they trust the direction I'm taking them, and they give me their vision and what the thought process is, if they even have that going in. But they do trust me to be able to be the professional, be able to create something that is going to be effective for them. They're not the ones that make videos for a living. I am, and they're able to trust me with that. And that's been a huge thing for me, not because when I first started out, it was just so much, I don't want to just say input from the clients, but just it was clear they didn't even know what they wanted. So I would finish the product for them and they'd be like, oh, we like it, but can you change this, this, and this? And then I would kind of disagree with it, but I wouldn't voice that. So I'd change it for them. And they'd be like, actually, yeah, I liked what you had earlier, but could you change it? And there was just so many like, we're not really accomplishing anything here. And then there's months going by and I'm not getting paid and they're not getting to use their assets. And then the final product isn't really something that's going to be as effective. So I guess positioning myself as a leader in this industry and as a professional who knows what he's doing has been very beneficial to me. And my work's been able to prove that in terms of the numbers that it's been able to do.
Entrepreneurs, business owners listening to that right now, if you've heard any of these podcasts before, it's been brought up multiple times, but Ben hits the nail on the head of one of the challenges we all go through. And it doesn't matter if you're a service-based company. It doesn't matter if you are a physical-based good company. If you are not aligning your product to the consumer base, you are going to have problems with retention. You're going to have headaches with the clients. There is so much negativity that comes off the back end of that, where, Ben, it seems like you've really honed in on who your ideal customer profile is. Can you elaborate? Who is the best person when they come to you? You're like, this is an absolute shoe-in. We're going to crush this for them. Who are you looking for to work with in your company?
Yeah, like I said, we're really looking to work with people who have an understanding already how important video is, how much the quality of video is, because people are always saying pump out content, which is accurate. You do need to be having content regularly coming out, but you also want that to be quality content. You don't want to just put out a bunch of random, very long videos that don't do anything, because actually that can push people away. Social media is huge right now. People posting regularly on social media. If what they're posting isn't interesting or informative or fun or entertaining, people are going to just stop watching everything. And then maybe they will come out with something that is actually really good and something that people would want to see, but they're not going to see it because they've already written that company off. So yeah, I feel like that's such a huge part of this whole thing, is being able to, again, not only just create something with a purpose, but create something that's going to keep people's attention. But for me, I would say my ideal client would be not only somebody who understands the value of video, but again, is going to trust us to be able to create something that is valuable for them. Ideally, people who need video on a regular basis. Some companies are either just kind of too small to where they don't have the budget for that, or they just don't have enough going on to be able to do that. So for us, I mean, we found some of the main businesses that work well with us would be any sort of home or commercial remodeling. So whether it be remodeling companies, deck building companies, restoration companies, roofing companies, things of that nature. And then some professional services as well, like chiropractic, senior living. We've worked with some of those as well. People that need to create trust regularly with their clients because they're selling high ticket items, right? If you're going to be spending money with a company that's going to be in the tens of thousands of dollars or more potentially, you want to know that you trust that company. And sometimes one video isn't going to do that. So being able to have that long term, being able to create that relationship with my clients so that they can create a relationship with their ideal clients, that's what we like to do.
And I'm assuming also businesses that have a longer retention cycle, right? Like restaurants or something of that nature, where you need to make creative that's going to embed into their psychology for a longer period of time so they get locked in more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love that. Absolutely love that. And, it positioned the industry that you brought up are very, very important to highlight in my mind, right? Home improvement businesses, as well as some of the financial and professional businesses, where both of these industries have huge amount of revenue, huge amount of profit that comes off the back end of their jobs. But they're a bit archaic, right? You don't see so many home improvement businesses with a full brand story video. I see more e-commerce businesses getting started by 19-year-olds that have listing on Forbes, New York Times, and a full brand story video than I do with home improvement companies that are doing over $10 million a year. So, entering into that space, if you guys are listening to this, again, if you're any business that you're saying, man, I might have some interest in video, sitting down with an individual like Ben here, who's working with these local based companies, these home improvement businesses that can see the angle of how to leverage this high end video production in a space that's almost a blue ocean. Because yes, they are starting to get into there, but if you look at home improvement now, they're getting into the same categories that we just talked about, where they're making assets that are either super direct response and they're just saying, hey, here's our free estimate, or they're focused on the creative aspect without the storytelling on the back end. There's very few videos I've seen from a home improvement business that go through a strong hook. It brings in some of the benefit statements. It goes through social proof and brings in some reviews from customers, has a strong call to action at the end, and the story tells throughout the entire process on elaborating the value of the company. It doesn't really exist much inside of home improvement. And every single one of these businesses, if you're a business owner that you don't have a video, at least a brand story video that highlights what your company started for and the core values that you're out there, you're about 5 years behind the time. Then I'd call Ben ASAP to catch up to the process. I love that. Speaking about behind the times, let's talk into the future a little bit, right? The video has been the talking point of all of creative development now for probably about the last 24 months. And we've really honed in on the video creation, especially after the big TikTok rush. But where do you believe that video development for businesses is going to happen in the near future? Do you think that we're going to see more AR and VR capabilities that you'll start developing into and help these businesses, say a home improvement company, develop a system that allow them to walk into a house and be able to see a video of how their home would look with the added additions? Or how do you believe that your capability of translating stories and giving visual feedback to the customers to help grow businesses is going to change in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, the cool thing about technology is that it's always advancing and it continuously advances at a faster and faster rate. Some people have this sort of concept, especially with all this craze about AI recently, that, oh, it's going to replace our jobs and it's going to do this and it's going to do that. But in reality, it's a tool. It will replace your job if what you're doing is a menial task. But if you're somebody who is willing to learn and you're willing to utilize new tools for your business, something like AI can be very beneficial. So I think AI, for one, is going to be, it already has been huge for my business. It's dramatically cut down on my time editing, my time picking songs for my videos. And because of that, I'm able to use that tool to better help my clients as opposed to replacing me, because you're never going to fully replace the human aspect of things, right? And I would imagine that people will start creating ads like using only AI if they're not already, which I'm sure they are, but it's still going to be missing that human element. So to be able to combine it, instead of just ignoring it entirely and just being like, that's not the same as a person making it, or to be able to just use it to essentially cheap out and not do any work yourself, utilizing that as a tool, I can't even fathom the levels that it's going to go to, just because in the past year or two, the advances we've seen in AI are insane. So yeah, thinking 5-10 years in the future, I honestly don't even know where we'll be at with that. But I think the most important thing for people to realize is constantly be learning it and learning how to utilize it for your business. And not even just, video production companies like myself or marketing companies like you, but people who are in business, ways that it can help them save money and save time. Because, as we all know, time is money. And if you're able to use a tool like that to save yourself some time or to be able to connect with your ideal client better, like, use it, learn it. Don't just stick to whatever's always worked. And I think that's kind of going back to what you said before. The problem with a lot of people is like, oh, we've never had to use video marketing before. Well, you need to be using it now. And if you're not, 5-10 years from now, yes, I do think if you're not using video to any extent, um, I don't think you will be able to stay in business, in all honesty.
Not going to be able to meet the market. For the listeners out there, have you found any AI editors or AI video developers or any support that you would recommend for people looking into, or is it still too young that there's just really nothing out there that really exists that helps today?
Yeah, I guess it depends what you mean exactly, but there definitely are some tools, especially in already existing programs. So, like for example, a program we use is called Soundstripe. It's something we use for our licensed music, and they have an AI tool embedded in there to where I can search something along the lines of like 30-second ad targeted towards senior citizens from this type of company, and it will pull up a song that well, several songs, but usually like the first or second song fits like exactly the feel I was going for. And that saves me so much time just trying to like go through categories and stuff of songs. And then there's also, especially for things like podcasts, an amazing amount of, again, anything that's like tedious can just be cut in seconds with AI. It's incredible. You can go through, cut out all the ums. It can even cut to like, if you got multiple cameras, it could be cutting cameras to like whoever's talking, but it also does it smart to where like if people are interrupting each other, it's not going to be switching cameras constantly. And it's just, again, it's amazing over just the past couple of years, or even something like Photoshop, kind of getting into that. It used to be like you have, and by used to, I mean, even just a few years ago, you'd have to have extensive Photoshop knowledge and maybe take like 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes to remove this object from a photo and for it to look natural. Now it's literally like you can click a button and it looks almost perfect, and maybe you do a little bit of touching up. And it's just, again, that the way that's advanced has been so cool. I'm a big fan of Adobe products. So if somebody is looking to use stuff themselves, that's what we use, and it's been very good for us. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of AI stuff popping up, and I'm not familiar with all of it. But there will be, there definitely already is something, and regardless of what your business is, some sort of program that's able to utilize AI that's going to save you time.
Ben, great highlight. And you can see as a video developer is doing this full time, who's integrating AI into his system, he is ahead of the curve. As you said, if there's someone that's not doing this, they're spending 20, 30, 45 minutes to an hour to do something that Ben can now execute in a much shorter time. So again, entrepreneurs, business owners, you're looking for video help. This guy is on top of the cutting edge technology, as well as great at understanding the storytelling, which is the combination that you brought up before. If you need to live in the space, one of my favorite interviews is Elon Musk with Joe Rogan, probably about 3 years ago, who Elon Musk goes off and says, we either need to integrate with AI or die. And I thought it was very severe at the moment, but in today's day and age, you can kind of see that becoming a reality of that as a business owner specifically. If you are not integrating with AI and understanding how to develop your current business in that process, some competitors are going to come and take over using that immense amount of data. So I love that. Obviously, Ben, super intelligent. You built a great business here. You're making up beautiful assets for your clients. This is one of my favorite questions of the podcast, and is how do you find your Kaizen? For the listeners out there, Kaizen is a Japanese business term that refers to progressing yourself and your business 1% every single day. It's an ideology that we use in our team as well as what I live by in life. So Ben, how do you stay on top of the changing video environment? How do you make sure that you know what relative hooks are working at the current moment, that you know what video editing and what kind of flows are working the best? What do you do to find your Kaizen?
Yeah, I would say my whole life, everything that I have been interested in, I've just constantly wanted to get better at. And that just research is so important. Like I pretty regularly have people ask me like, oh, where did I go to school for this? And I say YouTube. I literally watched YouTube videos to figure out how to create videos. I started my business. I made enough money that I was then able to invest in courses from created by people who do this for a living, not college courses. And being able to just ingest all that information. I then moved on to purchasing courses from marketing companies to learn about how to market my clients effectively. So again, we're not just creating really nice looking videos, but we're creating effective videos. And just that, it's because I chose a career that I'm passionate about. And I feel like most people do. Like you usually don't get into business just because like you wanted to start a business. I'm sure some people do that, but most people, there's a reason they got into the business that they're in, and it's something that interests them and something that intrigues them and something they want to learn more about. And that for me, the cool thing is I constantly get to learn about not only video and marketing, but I also get to learn about all these other industries that I'm working with, to where, they do stuff that I never knew how it works, and I get to actually see that firsthand, which is so cool. So I feel like I'm just constantly learning about how new industries work, but I also have to stay on top of my game in terms of like what's going on in my industry and how can I continuously grow in that. And honestly, YouTube is a huge tool. Paid courses from people that are actually doing what it is that you do, very, very common thing, and can be extremely cost effective. But I would just suggest keep learning. And if you're not interested in that, then either find someone who is a professional like myself who's able to cover that portion of your business, who you could just pay them to do it because you're not interested in learning it. Or, I mean, in extreme cases, if you found that you're not interested in what it is that you're doing, maybe start heading in another direction and finding another business that you can start, because I think it's so important that we're passionate about what it is that we do.
Oh, I love that. Being a true student of life, and you can hear everyone, listen, you hear the empathy, you hear the emotions coming through his voice. It's because he really does care, right? It's finding business owners like yourself that truly do care, not just about being better at what you do and constantly improving, but also doing it in the sense of caring for your clients and growing their businesses and being there throughout the process of creating the video, getting the video to market, having it attract new customers, and watching the revenue of your clients grow. Ben, awesome. I have one more bonus question for you, just like a fun one that we joke around about at the end. This one's a new one for the listeners, but we're going to talk about zombie apocalypses today, right? World's getting a little crazy. We got the election coming up. We don't know what's about to happen. Zombie apocalypse hits, okay? What's the one weapon that you grab to make sure you can defend yourself?
Oh my goodness. That's one weapon. I'd probably want to deck out a truck. Maybe I should get working on that now just in case. Yeah. But I've always liked the idea of just plowing through zombies in a truck that's got like huge spikes on the front or something like that. I know that's a ridiculous thing to visualize, but
love that
fun to me.
Yeah, he got a truck, full self-defense. He's good to go. I always said like a chain mesh suit. You know what I mean? If I could pick one thing, if I could be a knight, and zombie ain't gonna bite a knight, you know what I mean? You fully defend it, I'll be fine. Either way, Ben, absolutely love. Listen, Ben from Blueride Visuals, obviously creating content. If you guys haven't seen his content, check out his website. His link's gonna be below in the description. Check out his website. Make sure you see some of the beautiful content that he is engaging with his clients and what he's leveraging to help grow their business. Ben, if someone wanted to contact you and wanted to get connected with you, get some videos created and help grow their company, how would they find you?
The number one way would be to look at our website, which is blueridevisuals.com. On there's a form that you can sign up. You can just schedule a meeting with me anytime that works for you. It'll go directly onto my calendar. That first initial meeting is for us to learn about what it is that you do, why you're reaching out to us, what your company is, and who you're trying to reach. And from there, we're able to grow a video production plan for you that's going to be effective for your business specifically.
Perfect. Love it. Again, that website link is going to be right below in the description. If you guys have finished this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ben, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. And I'm confident with your capabilities of storytelling, as well as the incredible visuals that you're putting out there, that you're going to continue to grow businesses at mass. And hopefully we can help you in that process. For everybody else, we'll see you on next time.